Velsura. That time I got sent back in time as a slime, by Lobotomiskii. Chapter 7 Our Histories Veldora Pov. Kua ha ha ha. My joyous laughter drowns out the satisfied noises of my guests, as they voraciously devour my delicious barbecue. To be expected from me, of course. My cooking skills are only second to Shuna. Sometime after the Tenma War, I decided to expand my small teppanyaki stand into a full-scale fast food chain, like the ones in Rimuru's old world. With my delicious recipes, my company eventually became the largest food corporation in Tempest. Even Sister Velsard was proud, although her phrasing wasn't exactly kind. Era, my useless little brother finally did something useful? Well, I suppose that deserves some praise, but don't think I'll forgive the next time you mess up just because of this, you little brat. She's scary. Amazing, Rimuru-chan. Please Ellen, don't call me that. This grilled meat is so tasty. Indeed, I don't think I've ever encountered a taste as vibrant as this. Guido the Sensible remarks. Kua ha ha ha. Glad to see you're enjoying it. Meanwhile, Shizu looks like she's remembered something long gone. Well, she is an otherworlder. I don't think she ever expected to taste authentic Japanese yakitori here. I flash her a knowing grin. Well, at least the equivalent of grin in slime form. So, Slime-chan. Stop calling me that. I'm cringing whenever I hear it. Did you really build this town in a few weeks? Huh? It looks more advanced than some human settlements in Ingrasha already. Kua ha ha. Indeed, because I am a natural-born leader, all-loving, and all-loved. This bragging elicits the usual response, which is the applause of my beloved subordinates, contrasted by the deadpan looks on the adventurers' faces. Ahem, ignoring that arrogant bragging, it's truly impressive, what you've built here. Kaval the Stupid speaks up. I'm kinda excited to see what your little town can do in the future. Yes. And think of all the new foods. Ellen, the one who lacks respect, pipes up. Unsurprisingly, the other two immediately nod in agreement. Their gluttony is truly only rivaled by the king of gluttony himself. The rest of the meal is accompanied by laughter and lighthearted banter. Even my subordinates and Shizu joined in at some point. Needless to say, it was a good time. After the banquet, my subordinates led the 3 idiots plus 1 to their tents. I deeply apologize that we are unable to provide better accommodation than this. Rigard bows deeply to my guests, but they replied that they aren't bothered by it. After that, I continued doing my work, trying to find ways to replicate manga, until I remembered that I should be having a deep and emotional chat with Shizu right about now. I hurry up to the hill which overlooks the city, where I find Shizu gazing at the sunset. I wipe off my figurative sweat before approaching her, happy that I actually arrived on time. We stand in silence for a minute, just looking at the distance, before Shizu speaks. Slime-san, you're an otherworlder, right? She asks in a soft tone. I have a friend who is. I respond. She looks momentarily disappointed, before her gentle smile returns to her face. She continues. Slime-san, was your friend Japanese as well? I nod in response. She turns away, a happy expression on her face as she looks into the stars, which were just starting to show themselves. Well, I would love to meet him one day. I almost blurt out that she already met him, but thankfully my heightened maturity sense prevented it. Hey, Shizu. You're from the WW2 era, right? I ask. I remember at one point that I was incredibly interested in otherworld history, so I had Hinata lecture me on it for a while. Unfortunately, Luminous got angry that the damn lizard is trying to steal my date, and whisked Hinata away before she could get past the 1900s. Shizu looks surprised for a moment. How did you know that? Well, I think anyone more than 50 years old would recognize the famous conqueror of the flames. I'm definitely older than 50 years, Kua ha ha ha. Well, then I suppose I am. From the WW2 era, that is. She responds, looking a bit nervous. I remember how she mentioned that she was caught in a bombing raid. Whatever that means. It must have been incredibly traumatizing for her. Not as much as dealing with my sisters, but it's still commendable that she's able to maintain her composure after going through that much. I find myself actually feeling bad for her this time. Of course, I did last time, while I was in Rimuru's stomach, but not nearly to this extent. I don't know why, but this time it feels personal. Maybe it's because I've interacted with humans more after I met Rimuru, and I've even grown to enjoy the company of some, which helped me to understand them more. Hey, Shizu. Can I show you something? She nodded. I then asked, Great Sage, to show Shizu of my memories of Tokyo, from that time when Rimuru brought me to visit Earth. She looked stunned for a moment, before turning to ask me, is this Tokyo? Yes, this is Tokyo in the era my friend came from. Her expression slowly turns from shock to happiness. I decide to advance to the next part of our memory slideshow, which is me and Rimuru riding through the Japanese countryside on a bullet train. For some reason, I am particularly fond of this memory. Perhaps it showed me how much I came to grow in Rimuru's company. Where before, I was an evil dragon, rampaging through the lands like a storm, I found myself appreciating the beauty of the Japanese countryside. The small houses dotted throughout the landscape, the neat rice fields, and the blue river waters. The past me wouldn't have batted an eye at such simple things, but the current me took time to appreciate the small happiness in life. I think Shizu has similar feelings to mine, perhaps in a different way, but I think that they are the same, in the regard that they are happy feelings. In particular, I find her looking at a group of children on the train, laughing happily at each other's jokes. She then fixed her gaze onto Rimuru. Who is this young lady? And why does she look like me? This is the friend I was talking about. These memories are from my perspective so you can see him, I cheerfully said, before quickly realizing what I had just revealed. You mean you've been to my old world? Didn't you say you weren't an otherworlder? Aw shit, I dug a hole for myself. Rimuru, give me your wisdom, what should I do? ERHM. What do you mean? I never mentioned that I wasn't, merely that my friend was. Ha ha ha. Shizu looks at me uneasily for a second, but she decides not to ask any more questions about that. However, maybe I should just tell her the truth. Gazel knows already, why can't she? No, that's probably impossible. I'll tell her eventually, that's for sure, but not now. Yes, for now, I need to think of a way to save her. Me and Shizu spoke very little after that. It's not as if we were mad at each other or anything, we just sat down and enjoyed the view, in silence. And I kind of enjoyed it. It reminds me of another memory of mine, way back, before the Tenma War. Yes, after Rimuru first freed me from my imprisonment. I remember standing at the hilltop, side by side with him, just enjoying the view of a sunrise. Maybe I should stop with all of these memory callbacks, but they just fill me with so much unexplainable happiness. Hey, Shizu. I know you must have somewhere you're traveling to, but I don't know why, but I feel really nervous right now. Would you like to stay here? Shizu looks, once again, taken aback by my words. She takes a while to process my invitation, seemingly contemplating her choices. Finally she gives me my answer, and she refuses. She refused. Haha. But the great storm dragon still has another trick up his sleeve. Kua ha ha ha. A tactic tried and tested in the sacred texts, universally successful and absolutely infallible. HMPH. It's not like IW wanted you here anyways. Bibaka. Kua ha ha ha. Even Rimuru might not be able to resist this tactic. EEH. In that case, I'll be leaving tomorrow, so I'll not burden you after that, okay? NANDAYOOO. It didn't work. BB but the sacred texts. The sacred T underscore. The next morning. The morning has finally arrived, and with its arrival, the goofy trio of adventurers, along with Shizu, must part with us. Well, I know what's gonna happen next, so I know they'll stay a bit longer, but that's not nearly as entertaining to write about in my diary. Here they finally come. Rigor jokes as the two girls leave their tent. Sorry for the wait, everyone. We waited all right. Guido the sensible mumbled. Geez. Why do women always take so long to get ready? Caval the stupid yelled in annoyance. Caval the stupid and Ellen the one who takes too long start to argue back and forth, with Guido the sensible only looking tired on the sidelines. I guess this is how Rimuru must feel dealing with Milam and Ramirez, huh? I'm glad that I'm not nearly as troublesome. The casual banter stops as the air suddenly runs cold with tension. We all look over to Shizu, who has frozen up completely. Suddenly, without warning, she lurches forward, groaning in pain. And not again. Shizu-san. Shizu-san. Ellen's worried cries only grow louder as Shizu's groaning intensifies. As Shizu collapses to the ground, her mask finally falls, having cracked due to the massive pressure. A pillar of flame erupts from her collapsed body, while her features slowly transform into a more masculine nature. Shizu-san. Ellen reaches out to help Shizu, but is held back by the others. Shizu. Shizu. Shizu Izawa. Isn't that the conqueror of the flames? Guido yells, having finally understood. Shizu's body is no longer recognizable to its previous form. Replacing her beautiful, refined features are the orange skin, rough hair, and muscular body of the greater flame spirit, Ifrit. You two, I address my two subordinates. Evacuate the town, now. But that's an order. The two nodded reluctantly before rushing off to inform the residents. As they leave, the flame giant lets out a tremendous roar, forcing the trio to cover their ears. I simply look right into his eyes. Long time no see, cherries.